It's been about 2 years since I've completely destroyed my porn addiction to where like I literally don't even watch it. I don't entertain it, none of that anymore. And I've been plagued with this addiction for the last since I was in eighth grade. And a lot of you that are watching this right now, you may still be going through the process of actually completely removing it. It doesn't matter where you're at in life, by the way. I know some of the most successful people in the world that struggle with porn addiction, that have wives, that have everything. I know people who are broke who struggle with porn addiction, and it's almost equal, right? It doesn't matter where you're currently at in life. Most men these days struggle with that. And for me, it all started when I was in about eighth grade. Yeah, I actually figured it out later. I didn't start watching it till eighth grade because I was a devout Christian in my mind, right? I was like, yo, I can't be watching this as a sin. I'm going to hell, et cetera, et cetera. So I basically kept myself from watching it, even though I was exposed to it. People were talking about it since I was in like fourth grade, but I never ever took the time to actually look it up and watch it. I remember the minute I started watching it, everything changed. My whole perception of reality changed. Literally warped my whole perception of how sex should be, how women should be, everything. And I thought it was right? I was like, oh no, it's just boring. It's just something that, you know, guys do at a young age because they need to get off. Like, it's all good. Like, and I remember I experienced my first orgasm with porn when I was in eighth grade. And literally I got addicted to the point where like I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna do this once a week, right? And then I kept doing it every single week, every single week. And then I started saying, well, it's not gonna be too bad to do it once every other day. I literally went from a week to every single day. So now I'm doing it every day. And the numbing sensation happens where you're the effect, the climax that you're getting, it's not enough and you want more because it literally is dopamine. So that means you want more. You become a crack addict for when it comes to porn. You want more, you want more, you want more. So I literally would keep going to where like, all right, now it's like, oh shit, fuck it. I'll just do it twice a day. Right. And then I started doing it twice a day. Then I started doing it 3 times a day. And the most I've ever done it in a day, because I'm being real with y'all, was 5 times a day. Bro, my shit was shriveled up like a man, what? I kept doing it for so long, and some of you guys can relate to me because maybe you're in that stage now, right? And again, it doesn't matter. You don't have to be young. I know my audience is a lot older, but some of y'all still struggle with this. And I would keep going, and I would get to a point where I would just stop just because like life got busy or whatever, or I just completely forgot about it. But then in the back of my head, I'd always want to go back and look. And every single time I saw women, anytime that I noticed women, I would always notice the physical. Obviously, we all notice the physical, but even deeper, I would imagine shit that I would be doing with them in my head because I had this warped perception of sex because of porn. So it raised my anxiety when it came to talking to women. Now, I've never had issues with talking to women. I've never had issues with attracting women my whole life. I can't lie to you. I was still a dork and a nerd back when I was younger, but I still never had issues with that, right? I still had some level of attraction to where women just wanted to be around me and talk to me, and they would be interested. But at the end of the day, I couldn't carry on conversations because my mind was so fucked up when it came to like how I looked at women, right? And so I kept going with this for a long period of time. And I'll never forget when I was like, I need to make a stop. I need this thing to end. I need this addiction to go away because it's literally destroying my life. It would get to a point, man. I remember I was building my tech company back in 2021. And literally, bro, like imagine building a tech company, raising money, managing employees, managing founders. And literally, once you wake up, you beat off. You have to the first morning you get up. It's like a hit of dopamine. It's like coffee in the morning, right? You drink coffee, you feel like you need it every morning. It's the same with porn, right? You start to need that shit every morning. And I remember I would finish doing my thing, whatever, bro. Feet spread out with the thing right there. I would just get it done, get what I need to get done, and then I would go back to sleep. So I get lazy and I'd be like, shit, fuck it. I'm gonna take a 2 hour power nap at 9 a.m. Like, come on. You know what I mean? So I would keep that process going for a long period of time. And it's funny because even in relationships, my previous relationships, I would still be watching, and I'll get into why that happens as well. But the way that I started to break it was I started to use my ego. That's the key. You got to start using your ego. And people don't talk about breaking porn addiction this way. They always give you like all these tips and tricks and all this shit that doesn't really work. But watching porn and getting addicted to porn actually goes back to your identity, which is a common theme as you've noticed of me talking. You identify as the guy that watches porn. You identify as the guy who needs it. And that's because you've broken your ego, especially if you're an attractive man, right? If you're an attractive man, you've probably watched porn for a long period of time because you've shattered your ego in order to please society, because you innately know you're attractive, but you have to hide that. So you have to basically lessen yourself and feel like a loser. And so what you do when you feel like a loser, you start watching porn, even if you're attracting women, because that's how I felt. I had to always dim myself, but then by dimming myself, I dropped my identity, my core, who I am, to becoming this loser that literally felt like I needed to watch porn to be able to, like complete myself or some shit like that. And it always kept messing me up. But once I started to realize, wait, I need to start addressing the ego. I need to start using my ego, because society tells you not to use the ego, right? Society always tells you, oh, you don't need the ego. The ego's bad. You need ego death, this, and that. I believe you need ego death when you've made your ego your whole entire identity, when it's taken over everything that you are. When you fully, when it envelops you, it becomes your master and you become its slave. That's when you have ego death. But before then, which most of you guys aren't even at yet, you have to maximize using the ego, because it's going to save you from shit like porn. Because here's the reality. I would literally start telling myself, I'd be like, man, I'm too good for this shit. I'm too good to be watching this shit. Like, what kind of person watches this? Like, only losers watch this. And I'm not a loser. Like, my ego would be literally backing me up on quitting. And when you start to use the ego, you also want to double it up with what I call the observer effect. If you've ever heard of the observer effect, it's very interesting, because that essentially means that you put yourself in a third person perspective and you basically watch yourself and you start to see what you're doing. And so the shame starts to kick in, because here's the thing, when you finish beating off and you let go and you release, you get that shame afterwards. But that's because you see what happened. Right? But if you can take yourself out of your body and you can actually just start to watch yourself on a day-to-day basis, you'll be able to see yourself in the action and basically remove the desire to have that, because now you're going to kick in your ego and say, why do I look like a loser when I'm doing this? Why is it that I'm watching another man with another woman that I want on a screen and I'm not there? I'm a cuck. I'm a digital cuck. Right? So I started literally talking to myself like that. So my ego was literally just drilling me down every single day. My ego was just hitting me like, bro, what are you doing? Like, why are you sitting up in this position doing this? Why are you hiding it? Why are you literally doing this shit in the bathroom when you have a girl right there? Literally, in my previous relationships, that's how it was. Because that's another thing that goes into it. If you're a man right now and you're in a long-term relationship and you still find yourself watching porn all the time, it mostly is because you're either not attracted to the girl that you're with, right? And on top of that, you haven't done what I've told you to do, right? Which is use your ego, shame yourself for doing it, and literally in the moment, not afterwards, because then you dissociate from the action. You only associate with the outcome, right? So to actually associate with the action, you have to literally see yourself in third person all day long, every single day. Observe what you do, criticize what you do with your ego, and literally tell yourself you're a loser, and literally describe why you're a loser, because you're watching pixels on the screen. The woman that you're beating off to doesn't even know who you are. She's probably just doing that because she's cashing out. You're literally a digital cuck. You're watching another man have sex with another woman that you want, that you can't have. And so that paradigm right there. And then when you're in relationships, here's the thing, guy, I'm gonna be real with y'all, and I might ruin relationships right now. You need to be with a woman that you're crazy attracted to. I don't give a fuck. Like, you will be able to find that shit. You don't have to settle with somebody who's less than what your attraction level is, because when you do that, you either will cheat or you'll be addicted to porn. And the other thing is, you got to make sure that they have a similar sex drive than you or higher. And here's the reality. And this is where a lot of men are not going to understand what I'm saying. Women have a higher sex drive than men do. The reason why yours doesn't have a higher sex drive than you is either because she's on SSRIs, so depression pills, or she's on some sort of anti-anxiety medication. She also is on birth control. She's on all of these different chemicals. So her sex drive will be lower artificially. Now, a woman who's not on that, that doesn't want to have sex with you, is because she's not attracted to you. That's it, because women by default have a higher sex drive than men. Most men don't understand this. It's very, very true, right? I'm a living proof right the fuck now as we speak. I don't TMI, I get it, but like, it's just real, right? So you have to get with someone who has either a higher or just as high of a sex drive as you do, because they'll literally be able to satisfy you to the point where you don't even need that shit anymore. There's no empty space, right? And on top of that, you need to shame yourself every single time you even look, bro. Because here's the problem with a lot of y'all, and me too. I've had to really like start to flesh out my feed, my Instagram, because now it's getting to a point where you get on Instagram and you get on the explore page by accident. You see some girl shaking her ass on the fucking screen, and now you start to go and let me go down a rabbit hole for you, because this is how I was 2 years ago, right? You find it, boom, you click on it. Oh shit, she got a link, links, boom, and I don't want to encourage this shit, but like, y'all know what I'm talking about. You get on there, you see that she got the OnlyFans, right? Or she got some sort of thing. And then you're like, okay, wait, now this y'all know, this is how y'all know I was really gooning back in the day. You go to Reddit, you type in the name on Reddit, and you find all the free videos, right? And you start to binge watch, you start to beat off to every single one of those videos. You save that shit on your notes, you lock those notes, and you put that shit away. I'm telling y'all what the fuck my problem was back in the day, man. So, and even like, okay, maybe you didn't even look at that. Maybe it's just you go straight to the hub, right? You do the same shit. You watch a video, you like it, you find a point where it triggers you the most, and you get to the point where you climax, whatever. Okay, cool, I'm gonna save this video. You put that shit in the notes, you lock it, you throw it away, or you go on whatever browser, like incognito browser, you save that shit on there, and then you move about your day. That's what a man does when he's addicted to that shit. Now imagine you at third person looking at yourself, looking at that. You would literally, your ego would be like, bro, what the fuck are you looking at? You can't get women that you truly want. Like, why are you still watching this shit? Let your ego speak to you. Let it, because once you let your ego speak to you, and once you start watching yourself in third person using the observer effect, everything will start to change. So I literally dropped that shit one day cold turkey, and I never looked back. And I'm not gonna lie, there's some days where that funnel that I told you about, you go on Instagram and you see some shit, and then or if you're on Twitter or X, they call it the X platform, and you go on there, X is fucked up. That's why I don't even like that shit anymore, because literally it's all just porn, it's all politics, it's literally just degeneracy left and right. So I try to curate that shit as best as possible. I'm actually switching over to Substack, just because I like to create, I like to write. If y'all don't know, I love writing, right? If you want to tap in with that, that's going to be my Telegram. So join the free Telegram if you haven't yet, so you can get access to that. But yeah, bro, like, you have to be able to really curate where you're at and start to allow your ego to talk shit to you so that you can stop. And that's the thing. That's why I was telling you, even if you're attractive, you can still fall into porn, because it's psychological, and two, you've already psychologically cucked yourself by believing that you can't demonstrate how attractive you are, and you can't be in your full radiance because you feel like you're gonna make somebody upset or someone's gonna call you narcissistic. Fuck that. Be narcissistic. Be who you are. You're an attractive man. You have charisma. You have this energy to you. People are attracted to you. Own that shit and see yourself that way. Have your self-image reflect that. Because that's the problem. A lot of us, if you get to a point where a bunch of people are telling you you're attractive and shit like that, you're essentially going to look inside, and you're going to try to dim that out, because you're going to try to do that thing where you tell them, no, I'm not. And then you're going to reinforce that as your self-image. And that's where you start getting into all these low-level activities that you shouldn't even be doing, because you don't even have issues with women in the first place. And then once you go down that route, you won't even look at women the same. So you can't even have sex the same way. You can't even do a lot of the shit that normal men do. So you got to understand that and break that shit completely. That's literally what I did. That's what I did to break that addiction permanently. And I never use that shit again. Right. And especially now, because, you know, I'm in a really good relationship to where, like, I don't need that. Like, I'll be real with y'all. I don't even have enough to be able to do that shit. You know what I mean? So, like, I don't even think like that anymore. I'm not in scarcity, because here's the thing. A lot of men who watch porn, they're in scarcity mode. Right? They're in scarcity mode, and porn gives you the illusion of abundance. So porn gives you the illusion that you have all these women around, so it makes you feel good because you have that feeling of abundance, when in reality it's fake abundance, and really you have scarcity, right? So you have to be able to understand this. And what this video that you're watching right now, me telling you this, is giving you more awareness to be able to stop this shit. Because everybody else will give you tips, techniques, all this shit to do. I'm telling you the principles of what I did to completely eradicate this shit from my life forever. Right? So you got to understand that. And also, if you got a girl that you really love and you're not necessarily fully attracted, bro, get her in the gym, dog. Like, change the way that she look. Like, give her tips. Like, you should be learning how to do this shit, because you can transform a woman to what you want. Again, it's all about watering your own grass, right? Not watering another, not trying to find something like the grass is green on the other side bullshit. Like, no, water your own grass and make that shit a 10 out of 10. That's how you do it, right? This is for men who are in relationships now that feel like they don't want to leave, or they feel like, no, I'm getting everything that I need. It's just the attraction part's a little off. I'm not telling you to break the seal just because of that, but I'm telling you, like create an environment where you don't even need that shit anymore. You get everything that you want. All right. And if you're single right now, completely erase that. Don't even touch that shit, and start to talk to women in real life. And if you're religious and you can't do this and that, that's my problem with religion. Because now you're still doing the same fucked up shit, but you have a more convenient way to do it. You don't even talk to women anymore. And some people might say, well, yeah, that's gonna keep me from making bad decisions. Well, bro, you're not a fucking man, bro. If you can't find women that are solid that you can be with, and you can't control yourself, and you can't exercise safety when you deal with women and shit like that, bro, that's a personal thing. That's a discipline thing. This video is not for you. You got deeper problems. But you get what I'm saying. I hope this was valuable to you, man. And like, I do want to keep just giving out these dark truths and like the reality, and saying shit that a lot of men don't want to say out loud. The shit that goes through your head, I try to answer all those problems for you now, because I don't have any premonition for not talking about this shit. Like I have, my brand is raw. My brand is authentic. So I, by default, have to talk about these things, which is good for you, because now you'll get all of your little hidden questions answered without you having to go look it up or ask. It's all there, right? And a lot of us are embarrassed to even talk about this shit. Like I was embarrassed to even look up how to stop that shit. So having someone like me just that's talking about this openly and giving real practical advice would have been a game changer for me a long time ago. But now y'all got it, right? So I hope this video is valuable for you. I can't wait to see you on the next video. But again, comment below if this video was impactful for you. Give me some more topics to talk about, some taboo shit that you want me to talk about. I got another video coming out that you got. Put your post notifications on for this one. This is going to be how to practice semen retention while still having sex. This is going to be the craziest video in the space of self-improvement, because they always talk about semen retention and they talk about celibacy and shit. And I'm like, bro, you don't need that, right? So we'll talk more about that if that's interesting to you. Again, leave a comment below. I appreciate y'all. I'm gonna catch you on the next video.